In this video, I want to go ahead and resolve a issue mentioned in the previous one. So if client 2 on the left buys the mystery box, you can see the message goes away, which is correct, but this message to trade appears on both clients, and client 1 on the right can actually take client 2's mystery box firearm, and we don't want that. So we want to resolve that in the interaction message, as well as in the interact function itself, so that way they cannot take, well, that firearm. Now, there's a couple ways we can do this. So realistically, the interacting actor is either going to be like this function here specifically, the interact, is only going to run on the server or the interacting client. And we can kind of handle it by not really replicating who's interacting with the mystery box. But to make it simpler, it's probably a wise idea to actually replicate the interacting actor. And it's going to make it to where it's just, simply put, it's just going to make it simpler. Because we're not doing things like when we try to interact, we're storing the interacting actor, then regardless, we're checking if it's locally controlled based upon, something, blah, blah, blah. Instead, we're just going to store this and replicate it. And then in the interaction message, if these here are true and the interacting actor is locally controlled, then we know that we are good to go to display the interaction message, as well as if the interacting actor equals, well, the person trying to interact, that can handle this condition here, so that way other clients cannot grab the selected firearm. So to begin, let's go down to where we have our replicated variables, and we're just going to have a U property. It's going to be replicated. I don't really care about having it be on rep, so T object pointer, A actor, and this will just be the interacting. I don't want to do interacting actor because that's the name. Let's do, what would be a good name? Okay, so I thought about it. I'm just going to go with current purchasing actor. And this could be related to, say, a player, but I'm just going to keep it somewhat generic. So then we can go down here and replicate it in our get lifetime replicated props. So now that we have that, let's go to our interact function. And when we purchase the box, once we've done all that, we want to go ahead and set the current purchasing actor to the interacting actor. Then we can simply mark it as dirty from name, like so. And that's pretty much it. Now, I do want to go ahead and basically reset this. So once the interaction has completed, I want to make sure it goes back to being a null pointer. So that way everything is kind of, simply reset. So let's see, we did that somewhere else for some other stuff. So interaction finished, which clears out all of that. So if we have authority, I want to set the purchasing actor to be a null pointer and go ahead and replicate it down. Now this fires where exactly? Okay, we actually can't do that there. Actually, wait, yeah, we can. We just need to do it if it is true. Or even when purchase in progress is false. So that's done in tick right there, purchase in progress. We're going to do it inside of here, actually, because this is already kind of a preset place that basically handles what we're trying to do. So let's go ahead and remove that from our onRep interaction finished, go up to our tick, and where we do our purchase in progress to false, we want to go ahead and set our current purchasing actor to be a null pointer. So once we've done that, let's head down to our interact function. And basically we want to just check and see if the interacting actor, the person trying to interact, is equal to the current something, whatever we called it. So if the weapon to interp finish complete is true, let's actually check this condition first. So if the current purchasing actor equals the interacting actor, and the interpolation has finished, then we can grab the selected weapon. So this should prevent, I'm going to go ahead and restart the editor and recompile, by the way. This should prevent other players from being able to grab, let's say player 1 buys the box, and then player 2 walks up to the box and tries to grab the firearm. Player 2 cannot grab player 1's firearm. Only player 1 can. So that will prevent that. But it's not going to prevent or resolve the interaction message, which I want to hide the trade weapons message here, just more or less as a, what do you call it? As a indicator that, hey, we just can't grab it. So we're not even prompted, if that makes sense. So try with 2 clients. So client 2 will buy the box. Message goes away. Client 1 will press F. Nothing happens, but client 2 can still press F and grab the gun. So only the owning player who buys the firearm can do the actual grabbing of, his own firearm because he bought it. So next up, we want to check this same kind of logic in here. So if this kind of logic here is true, as in we are, available to grab the message, we want to have a additional condition. So basically checking it to see if the current purchasing actor is locally controlled, because we don't really have, otherwise we would have to go through and add, get interaction message and pass in this interacting actor to do this same comparison in every place just for kind of this. So this is one other, I guess you could say, alternative. So the way we do this is basically if this is true and we can cast it to a pawn. Actually, we can do the cast check here. So if, what do you call it? A pawn. Let's do current purchasing pawn equals cast to a pawn from the current purchasing actor. So if this is, castable to a pawn, so let's check if it's valid, and it is locally controlled, then we can go ahead and display the mystery box trade message. Now we can wrap this up here and here as well, more or less kind of as a additional check, so to speak. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean this up because I decided to just go ahead and actually do that. But basically, we need this condition here to make sure we are even, the correct pawn at all. So if this is true and that, make it a const, and let's look at the condition. I'm also going to run live coding. So if a purchase is in progress and, the firearm has reached the top like it's supposed to, we want to check and see if the current purchasing actor is locally controlled, meaning us, the person who bought the box. And then we want to do our additional checks to make sure the firearm has, I guess you could say, elapsed to be in the right spot. So, we are actually able to perform the purchase. So if I do the same thing, client 2 buys the box, the message goes away, and we should only get the message now on the person who bought it. So I press F, message and everything goes away, and vice versa. So if I buy it on client 1 here, client 2 should not get the message, which he doesn't. I'm pressing F and he cannot pick it up. However, client 1 can. So this makes it to where only the purchasing actor can buy the box. Well, not can buy the box, can grab the weapon out of the box, as well as see the prompt to, get it. So now I want to make sure everything's still good for the listen server. So we buy the box on client, and server cannot see it, nor pick it up, only the local player. Then same thing, server buys the weapon. The client cannot pick it up, but the server can because he bought the box. Can actually get rid of that here as well. So that's basically how this works. So everything seems like it's good to go. The interaction is, complete. We restrict who can grab what. So, yeah, I'd say we're off in a pretty good spot. So I would say the core functionality minus one additional thing, such as being able to grab. I can just more or less show you. So I have the 1911. You can see the 1911 is still in the box. That is a slight problem because we don't want the 1911 to be in the box. We want it to be not something we can actually buy or sorry, get from the box. So we don't want to be able to get a duplicate. So if we have the Thompson in our hands or in our equipment, we don't want to be able to get the Thompson from, the box as well. We want anything else other than the Thompson, basically. So that's where we're going to have to write in some additional logic for how the, I guess you could say, selection is handled, which is this right here. So we're going to need to write our own function to basically parse over, whatever firearms the interacting actor may have, do the comparison, and all of that stuff. But I want to do that probably after I do this other refactor, because I had mentioned early on, as well as in, let me find it, this logic here, I don't like, because it makes us dependent on the A firearm class, when I would much rather just use the, what do you call it, the construction interface to pass, this data asset to the firearm to basically handle everything else. So we're going to be refactoring how we, define our weapon data assets, because again, right now we are defining those directly in the mystery box. And I don't like that, because if we have another map or something, or we just do it, in a base class, then we have to essentially go through and add all of these data assets to it, or have a unique mystery box class per, per map and stuff like that, where, we don't want this weapon on this map, but we want it on this map, so on and so forth. So we're going to be moving all this to the project settings, and kind of, I want to link it more or less to a level. So for example, we can have an array that contains which level this set of data assets is going to be for. So that way, if we are on the Not and Totem level, that's kind of like our key. And our value is basically going to be this array here of, well, data assets to use. So that's the idea. I haven't tried it yet, so we're just going to have to kind of see how it works. But anyways, yeah, I will see you in the next video. If you like what I'm doing and you want to help support me, you can find a link to my Patreon in the description below, where you can also get early access to this entire series.